Welcome everyone to the December 60, no, I have this wrong. Wrong minutes. Sorry. The January 27th Committee of Council meeting for the town of Three Rivers. The first is the call to order and the land acknowledgement. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is unceded Mi'kmaq territory, Epewit, Prince Edward Island. Mi'kmaq is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respect to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this land for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. I was looking at the minutes for the other one. Okay, I need an approval of the agenda. Okay. Oh, okay, we have one change to the agenda. 7.1 is going to be tabled or removed for tonight due to some additional information. So we can take 7.1 off your agenda. So an approval for the agenda as amended. Councillor Monroe, Councillor McFarland, second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. The motion is carried. The next item is item 3, disclosure of conflict of interest. Do we have anybody in, any councillors that are in conflict of interest on anything on the agenda tonight? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to adoption of minutes. Is this, just one second, is that the October 21st?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that one didn't get
Okay,
approved.
just wanted to make sure, yeah, okay. Adoption of minutes, adoption of the October 24th, 2024 special COC public meeting on page 3, if you have a chance to look at that. Okay, the motion is that the minutes of the October 21st, 2024 special committee of council meeting be adopted as written. Oh, okay, moved by Councillor Monroe, second by Deputy Mayor Jenkins. All in favor? Aye. Okay. The next is the December 16th, 2024 Committee of Council meeting on page 12. That the minutes of the December 16th, 2024 Committee of Council meeting be adopted as written. Mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Van Donkersgoed, second by Councillor Van Dyke. Any comments on those set of minutes? Okay, all in favor? And the next is adoption of the January 20th, 2025 COC special budget minutes on page 14. And the motion is that the minutes of the January 20th, 2025 special committee of council budget meeting be adopted as written. I need a mover and moved by Councillor Van Donkersgoed and second by Councillor McDonald. All in favor? Okay. This brings us to the presentation and delegates portion of our meeting. I just have something, when you're using, anybody that's using their microphone, or anybody that wants to talk, you have to turn your microphone on because the camera follows the microphone, and turn it off when you're not talking, otherwise it'll stay fixed on you. So council values your input. Registered speakers are allotted 5 minutes to present their views. During the presentation, council members will not engage in dialogue or debate, but may ask questions afterward. To ensure a productive and respectful discussion, speakers are encouraged to maintain a professional tone, avoid personal attacks, and focus on matters within the jurisdiction of the municipal government. While the speaker is presenting, all others in attendance must remain quiet and seated to allow the speakers to be heard clearly. And that's from our procedural bylaw. Okay, the first speaker for tonight's meeting is Brent McKinnon. And
the podium button turns it on.
yep.
Podium switch.
Brent, can you tell us your name and your address, please?
Good evening. My name is Brent McKinnon. I was born in Montague the Beautiful, grew up in Wim Road. now reside in Newtown Cross. Thank you for the opportunity to present to Three Rivers Council. There's a supposedly old Chinese curse that goes, "May you live in interesting times." How ironic for Southern Kings at the moment. These are certainly interesting times, especially since PNP, Municipal Government Act, forced amalgamation, the arrival of the multinational or multi-million-dollar foreign tax-free CP-linked corporation, Jeeves, Bliss and Wisdom, and their purchasing of reportedly over 17,000 acres of land, sometimes with shoeboxes of cash, non-disclosure agreements. Interesting indeed. And through all of this virtual silence from the local MLA, mayor, and council regarding the factual information being presented by concerned citizens. Of late, those voices questioning what is happening to their community and province are growing louder and greater in number. And it's had an effect. Mayor Deagle, Mayor Johnson, Councillor Monroe, and others are starting to speak up, at least on social media. But don't get your hopes up. They're not speaking up to discuss the issue or deal with the facts. No, they're speaking up to play the victim card. How dare people question my motives or their motives? They're volunteers, they coach minor sports, they give to the community. Well, no one argues that, and they should be applauded for that, thanked for that. But it doesn't give anyone a free pass. What I'm seeing online in comments about this council and our MLAs is in no way personal attacks. The comments are about the actions and or inactions of both levels of government during this takeover. This is in stark contrast to the comments from the Jeeves, Bliss and Wisdom apologists and council minions. Those comments are almost exclusively personal attacks. Ageism, questioning mental capacity, motives. One need no further proof that they have no valid argument. When facts and arguments fail, the weak resort to insults. The racist slur gets trotted out in a feeble attempt to deflect. What we are not hearing are those at the heart of this issue stating, I or my family have had zero financial gain from any dealings with Jeeves, Bliss and Wisdom Corporation. We're not hearing that. Just the victim card. There's a growing number of citizens calling for an open community forum to publicly discuss what is happening. This recommendation has been made to the local MLA by numerous people, but what comes back is, call me. The citizens are not here to serve the whim and the timetable of their elected MLA. Rather, the MLA was elected, as were council and mayor, to serve the citizens. So it's time to move past the victim card deflection and deal with the matter at hand. There are victims here, but guess what, council and MLA Deagle? It's not you. It's the victims are the citizens of Kings County who are watching their community been taken over. Thank you again for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Brent. Councillors, do you have any questions for Brent? It's the time to ask him questions if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll take a crack.
Yep, go ahead.
So you said we're not attacked, and look, I don't have the answers for all this stuff, but you're saying you're not attacked. Did you not just say we're on the take? And that the
I
people
didn't say
are?
that at all.
You said, you referenced it, right?
No, I didn't. On the take.
Yeah.
No.
The financial gains that no one said.
No.
Nobody has said that they are not taking any financial gains. Their or their family have not had any financial gains because of this.
Okay. My point being, and I'm sorry if that was unclear, my point being, if council or members want to end that speculation, because there is that speculation, people are anxious, they're concerned, and without information, people are left to surmise.
Right.
There's only so many possibilities why people do things or don't do things. My point was, if you want to put an end to this, come out and clearly state, I have had made no personal financial gain from any dealings with. That will put it to bed.
So you think if I say that right now, then everybody will stop saying that?
About you, probably.
Right.
I would hope they
But
would.
no, but
I can't speak
how
for
do I
everyone.
prove it? Because that's going to be the next question. Right? No one's proved that anyone has. But if I say today, what do I have to do to prove that I'm not?
Well, I would think going on the record, until proven different, I believe you.
But I'm still innocent until proven guilty. And the same, like
And
that's how
I'm
this law
saying
works
you
out,
are.
right?
and I'm saying you are.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
I don't think anyone has proven the one argument, and it, I think that's the unfair part that maybe some people don't like hearing. I don't care what you say about me personally.
Yeah, I try not to make it personal, I really do. And I was always taught, question actions, don't question motives.
Right.
And because I have no idea what people's motives are. But actions are fair game to speak to.
Right, so but words are cheap too. So I'll say here today, I have not got any financial gains nor my family from whatever, any organizations on council, right? And through any of this.
It's refreshing to hear
illegal.
that, I'm glad.
It's
I'm
illegal
glad.
to do.
Yeah, and
But why do I even have to say that?
you didn't have to, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I'll echo Deputy Mayor's. It's very disappointing, you referenced my Facebook post yesterday, which I totally put out there from Mr. Wheel. Like I said, Mr. Wheel doesn't know any of us personally. He's under the assumptions we're all on the take and in collusion. So I will say the same thing. I have not taken anything from anybody, any company, anything in Three Rivers, in the province, anywhere. So
And
I've seen you on Facebook a lot, Mr. McKinnon, as
yep.
well, and a lot of your stuff is very personal as well.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. I challenge you to point out personal. And honestly, I'll state it clearly. I never thought you were on the take. I didn't. And I never insinuated or said you were.
Any other questions? Martina, go ahead.
Do I?
Well, I just sold some land, and I am so grateful right now that I did not sell it to an Asian person, because then you could royally accuse me of everything, right? What you're accusing. So does this mean now if one person in this room or on this council or two people don't speak in their defense, that means they were on the take? Is that justification that we were on the take?
I'm not saying that.
I think I sold some flowers out of my store about 15 years ago to the Buddhists. Does that qualify?
I'm not saying that.
Because, well, yes, you are.
No, I'm
You're
not.
asking all of us to
No,
speak
I'm
up
not.
to
No, I'm not.
ourselves
I made
in
a statement.
self-defense.
I made a
that-
statement.
No, I don't agree
Yes.
with you. You're asking us to
No, I did-
verify that we aren't on the
I did
take.
not ask that.
I just think
stated
it's really-
that if you wish
Excuse me,
to
one person
clarify,
at a
you can
time.
make this statement.
I'm not
And
go-
it's up to you. I'm not asking you to do it.
Yes, you were.
No, I'm not.
Okay,
Putting words in my
so
mouth.
in the province, as I know it, when we list property for sale, any one of us in this room, is there a law that tells every real estate agent they cannot sell to Asian people because that incriminates us? Anyone in this room, they can sell to Germans, Dutch, Taiwanese, Vietnamese, but they cannot sell to Asians because that's what you're saying.
Now, I will state again what I've already stated online. Look it up. I've stated it. The problem I personally have is not with the people that have, especially those early on, that sold properties in Heatherdale or Little Sands or where have you to the Chinese corporation. They did it. The Bliss and Wisdom were operating under the radar. People had no idea because they're very secretive. They didn't know. My problem has always been with government that allows this huge land grab and allows the Lands Protection Act to be avoided, subverted, and mum's the word. They don't say anything. They've got Iraq, and Iraq comes back, oh, that's all redacted, or we won't see anything. That's my problem. So I am not hurling stones at anyone that sold a property. I'm not. If people feel guilty, that's up to them. I can't control that.
I think this conversation is, we're going to end it here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Next speaker is Derek Nicholson. Derek, you go ahead.
Hi, my name is Derek Nicholson, and I live in Lower Montague. Thank you, Mayor, Council, members, for allowing me the privilege of being here today. This discussion is part 2 from my first discussion that I had, and 5 minutes sometimes is not enough to go through the topic, and I wanted to hit on some things that I rushed through in my first presentation. Mental health and politics is a topic right across the country. And in fact, there's a municipality in Ontario that actually changed to online meetings because of abuse. So in my first address to council, I said what council needs to do is to develop a clear approach to communication. Believe me, I know about communication, because I don't listen enough. And we all have the same problem because we like to talk more than we listen, and we haven't developed that attitude of clear communication. So C is we need to clearly communicate the expectations and rules that govern the boundaries. We need to be committed to communicate in a timely, accurate, and accessible manner. These include providing regular updates on activities, responding to inquiries, and holding regular public meetings. It also includes some other things, and I want to thank the staff for sending me the procedural policies with the email that said I could come and speak, and I read through it, and it's amazing what was in that. But how many people know that there's procedures involved in addressing a council? And in fact, how many people know that there's legislative obligations? And remember, these can be confusing, and you may need to repeat them often because people don't deal with this stuff on a regular basis, and don't get frustrated when you have to remind them again. And when I looked up in the dictionary, the definition of boundaries, it says this: it's a line, it's a mark, it's the limits of an area, it's a dividing line. And it's a limit of the subject or sphere of activity. We need boundaries. You put up some new stop signs in Three Rivers, 4-way stops. They're there for a reason. We not only need to be communicative, but we need to listen to others' concerns, their needs, and their emotions. And you know what? Concerns can be anything. In fact, it may seem small to us, but to others, it's a huge obstacle. And in fact, on my birthday, on January 17th, Hershey, Canada, they nixed the cherry blossom. They did. So we need to remember that if somebody has a concern, it might be important to them. That cherry blossom might be important to them. And we need to distinguish between the difference between a need and a want. And we need to remember that emotions get involved in this discussion because sometimes we're guided by emotion in making decisions. And we sometimes need to train ourselves to ask some leading questions like this. Please tell me why you feel this way. Why are you so passionate about this area? Can we sit down and talk? What about a coffee? Then in fact, a counselor told me the other week that she got on the phone and called somebody and says, we need to have a coffee. Tell me why you posted this. See, we need to be firm in our enforcement. The boundaries are there to protect everybody. And it's not a pleasant task, but we need it there. We also need to regularly assess the effectiveness of the boundaries that we put in. Are the boundaries fair? Are they transparent? Are they flexible? And we also need to make sure that the appropriate resources are there when our definitions that we have don't meet the needs of people. We need to refer people to an expert. And an expert is one with special skills or knowledge representing mastery in a particular subject. And we all can't be experts.
5 minutes, dear.
The next time council is facing an issue, make sure you remember to chalk it up to another cherry blossom moment. Thank you.
Thanks, Derek. Actually, the procedural bylaw will be going out in an email, attached to an email with every speaker.
Okay.
So I asked for that last week, because yes.
That was great. It came
Yep.
along and I read it.
Yep,
It was wonderful. Thank you.
yep, it should be attached from now on, it should be attached to every confirmation of a speaker.
Okay.
Thank you, Derek.
Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, does anybody have any questions for Derek? Okay.
Yes, I do. And I drove around and tried to find one. There's none to be found anywhere, so. Yes, I know. I have to go to Cooper's in Belfast. They might have one there.
Okay, our next speaker is Charles Hickin.
Good evening. My name is Charlie Hickin, and I live in Three Rivers. I would like to speak to you tonight about teamwork and what great things we can accomplish with it. First of all, I would like to thank the mayor for her excellent advice. She told me if I had any concerns, I should contact the RCMP. I did exactly as she suggested. I contacted the RCMP unit in Ottawa that is investigating foreign interference. I suspect they may be contacting a number of councillors in the near future. Again, I would like to thank the mayor for that advice and her willingness to work together. Any questions?
That's great. If there's all the facts, nobody has sent us any facts, but if you have them, I do appreciate you going to that length to.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Van Dongersgoed has asked to clarify or speak on some issues that were at the January 13th meeting, so I'll let her do that at this time.
Thank you. So there was a couple of, several concerns brought up at the January 13th meeting. One of them was about adding the definition of place of assembly to the bylaw definitions and adding this to the institutional zone. In fact, this was a permitted use before these bylaw changes. We corrected the omission of a definition. No one asked for this. It was simply part of the review that captured errors and omissions. The second concern was about the change in the definition of a group home to include homeless shelter. Yes, we did hear from a group who were concerned about the unhoused in our community, and why not? We should all be concerned about people who are in need of shelter. In fact, council was chastised for not attending a public meeting where this group presented their concerns. As chair of the planning board, I suggested we needed to add a place for homeless shelters in our bylaws. Planning board agreed and council agreed. People are homeless for a number of reasons. Not all homeless people are involved in criminal activities. It is a sad reflection of us as citizens if we do not care for those who are less fortunate. No one has asked planning board or council for a permit to open a homeless shelter or outreach center in Three Rivers. The other things I would just like to say again, and as Mr. Hickin just said, he went to the RCMP. That's great, because I'm tired of being accused of accepting bribes and money and being on the take. It's not true, and I'm happy for someone to investigate that. And if you don't have the proof to have it investigate, then stop saying it, because then it becomes slander. And the other thing is that as a councillor, I would really appreciate if you're directing your comments to the Buddhist community, that you direct your comments to the Buddhist community. We're the Council of Three Rivers, and if, we'll accept questions for us as council, but we don't need to be having questions that should be directed at other levels of government or at other community groups. Thank you.
Okay. As the mayor's report, So this is a year-end report, and 2024 has been a year of significant progress and achievements in the town of Three Rivers, marked by advancement in community service, human resources, infrastructure. We have made significant strides in property and development. 4 lots were successfully sold to GADC, and several new development projects have commenced, continuing the growth from last year. A notable business development is the 3-year lease on the Cardigan Station signed with Cork Dork Hospitality, bringing new business to our community. Infrastructure and upgrades. In terms of community and health, we have approved funding support for a walk-in day clinic in Montague, enhancing health care across access for our residents. And I want to thank Councillor McDonald for working so hard on that, and the clinic is actually open now. The Brudenell Water and Sewer Extension Project has been completed, and our government office is now back to full hours. Georgetown government office is now back to full hours. Infrastructure and upgrades have been a major focus this year. The King's Playhouse has received significant improvements, making it an even better venue for events and performances. We updated several bylaws, including those for street vendors, companion animals, procedural and development regulations. Upgrades to the wastewater treatment plant pumping station have been approved, and the Montague paved stone path at the waterfront is being completed. Complementing these infrastructure improvements, we also focused on sustainability through projects like C's remediation of the Old Mill Trail. Additionally, Three Rivers has taken over the management of the Cavendish Farms Wellness Centre, ensuring it continues to serve our community. In community services, we are negotiating the transfer of ownership of the Georgetown Civic Center to the Georgetown Fire Department. We also approved loan assistance for the Cardigan fire truck replacement and approved the transfer of the Lorne Valley Church and Cemetery to a community organization. The Brudenell School has been sold also, and it's opening new possibilities for that site rather than let it sit empty. This year we strengthened our team here in the office with key hires. Don Arsenault as Assistant Manager of Corporate Services, Deandra Mills as Planning and Development Clerk, Courtney Foote as Accounting Clerk, and Noah McCabe as Utilities Technician, and Aaron Bedore as Wellness Center Area Manager. Additionally, 2 administrative positions were classified to Accounting Clerks, and Public Works 1 was classified to a Utilities Technician. We have also made changes to the Planning Board membership and successfully conducted mission, vision, and value workshops to guide our future. Finally, in housing and community planning, we have adopted a housing needs assessment, setting the stage for future housing initiatives. The development bylaw has been revised and submitted to the Minister for review. Council and staff did their utmost to provide evidence-based advice that incorporated into the Planning Board and the public. The draft bylaw was revised several times as input was considered and incorporated into the final draft of the document. While the bylaw review process sparked some public debate, misinformation on social media posed challenges. Despite this, our planning staff and board maintained professionalism and transparency, addressing concerns thoughtfully. I commend the planning board and the planning staff for maintaining their composure and professionalism during these challenging meetings. In 2024, we achieved considerable progress in enhancing our community through thoughtful investments in infrastructure, services, and development projects. These accomplishments were made while maintaining fiscal prudence, ensuring that we responsibly manage resources to deliver maximum value to our residents. These accomplishments collect our collective efforts to make Three Rivers a better place to live, work, and play. I want to thank each member of council and the staff of Three Rivers personally for their cooperation and hard work throughout 2024. It hasn't been an easy year. I am proud to work with such a talented and professional group. On behalf of council and staff, I extend a thank you to all the residents for giving us the privilege of serving you and wishing you a healthy and prosperous 2025. Okay, 6.2 is the...
Excuse me,
Oh, sorry.
just ask if maybe the folks listening could turn their phones off. Find it distracting to...
Councillor Van Donkersgoed would like your phones turned off, down, please. 6.2 is Georgetown Fire Department. Do we have anybody here from the Georgetown Fire Department? Do we have they've submitted a report on page 18. Page 19, or on page 19 is 6.3, Three Rivers Minor Ball, and I think I see Chris here.
There, I'm live. All right, thanks giving me the opportunity to present on behalf of the Three Rivers Minor Ball Association. I believe, I think it's been a while since I've actually been here. I was thinking driving down, I said, it's too bad your volunteer hours don't pay the mortgage sometimes, but work tends to get in the way sometimes, but thank you. So it's been a busy year. I started looking back at some reports I've done. I think I said that every time I've come and presented that it's been a busy year, and this year's busier than ever. This is roughly 11 years I think I've been involved with the Ball Association. So I went back and I looked at the numbers that we had when I started, and we were just over the 200 player mark. And 2024, we surpassed 400. And for the most part, the facilities haven't changed. They've improved. I don't mean any disrespect in that comment, but we haven't really added too many more. We've pretty much have access to what we have, but a little over a year ago, I think we had 350, 320 the year before. We've had a ton of success in attracting young ball players, softball players, baseball players, and that's what any association needs. I mean, if you look at minor hockey, minor soccer, their young kids that feeds the future, and we're no different, and it's fantastic to see. But it's also a credit to the great volunteers and coaches that spend a lot of time at the complex over the course of the year. In a previous report, I expressed a concern over field capacity, and the concern absolutely hasn't gone away. In fact, it has gotten worse over the last number of years. We're doing the best we can with the fields we have access to. We got access to the McSwain Field in Georgetown partially last year due to some challenges, which we're all aware of, but we really needed that field. And hopefully this year will get us full access to it to be able to play games and whatnot on it. The fields are going pretty much 7 days a week. That's the other thing, is that, this year, to alleviate some of the scheduling, we kind of took a page out of the scheduling from our neighbors in Stratford, where we started holding 4:30, 5 o'clock practice times. Anyone that works, I'm sure really appreciates 4:30 practice time on a Tuesday. But it works for hockey. Hockey, they seem to find a way. The folks in Stratford seem to find a way. So we said, we're going to have to get creative and try something, and we did. A few groans at the first of the year, but we got through it, and we did get access to a few more practice times. One of the other things that we've had to do is we've had to reach out to our neighboring communities and get access to some of the complexes they have. So Peaks has a great larger facility. Morel, we have a great relationship with the folks in Morel. St. Peter's has a great softball complex there, which we've gained access to. Belfast, we've been using the field in Belfast, and Surrey's been starting to grow as well. So we've been starting to use the complex in Surrey. As you can imagine, for residents of Three Rivers, when we tell them, yeah, your practice time's in Surrey tonight, you can just imagine how that goes over. And it is what it is. Like, we can only do so much with what we have. Last year, I think Mr. Jameson, you and I met, I think, for the first time, and one of the suggestions that I made was, we have access, we have 2 fields within the town of Montague at the high school that are not used at all. They're not maintained, they're not used, but they're there. And I know Dorothy and I talked about this a little bit as well. There's liability issues, there's all kinds of issues that we can face, but I honestly think with a little bit of creative dialogue, with some documents, some signatures, we could find a way to make that work, which would be cost effective for everyone involved. They have to be maintained, that's the key. Like I said, the association can do so much. I mean, we're a group of volunteers. I know we say that many, many times, but we're responsible for the product on the field. We're not responsible for the field. for the complex. We do pay a fee to the town, which is a pittance. I get it. It is absolutely. We can discuss that. We're very open to discussing that. But we do pay. And in the past, we've, not that we want to go back to the past by any means, but, we did a lot of this work as volunteers. And I don't know, I can't even imagine how we would even come up to do this with 400 plus players right now. It just would be nuts. So in saying this, I think in the past I've, cordially discussed, had idle conversations. Now it's official. We're asking the town of Three Rivers to somehow figure out a way to get more fields available to us. Whether that means getting land, building new ball fields. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars here now. It's a lot of money, I get it. But there's a need. We get more calls and emails than you could imagine from residents that either just moved to the area or are thinking about moving to the area. And they're saying, how do I register for ball? How do I register for hockey? How do I register for soccer? We get those. We're at the point right now where we're probably going to have to cap our registration. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to tell a 10-year-old kid they can't play ball. But that's where we are. So in closing, that's we have our AGM coming up on February 13th. If any council members, residents want to come, it would be great. If there was a commitment from the town at that point, I know it's a couple of weeks, we would love to give you a spot on the agenda to come and present to the group. Thank you.
Chris, I understand your needs, yes, and I saw them last year because I spent some time at the fields. I guess we'll have to have some internal conversations on how to handle this, and if you want to talk to John, we'll see what we can work out. I think one team played on the high school field this year, didn't they, one of the little kids?
I'll refresh, what do they say on that show, earmuffs?
Yeah.
Your ears? We haven't played any games.
No, they
on the
practice
fields.
there.
Only practices.
Yeah.
And the town has never been asked to maintain the
No.
field for various reasons.
No, I had a
I'm not
conversation.
gonna lie, have we pulled the cars over and did what we needed to do? We have.
Yeah,
right?
that's great. So, yeah, there's obviously a need for more ball fields in town, and that's something that we'll discuss. Okay,
So any questions?
yeah, John has a question.
Thank you, Your Worship. Chris, doing great work there as always, and I don't know many organizations who can say that they grew to that amount, that as big as you have in such a short period of time. Have you had conversations with either the province or the principal at the high school?
The principals, they're no problem. We've asked them if we, as the association, can use them. They said absolutely, but we can't expect the town to, do anything on the ball field officially because there's liability and everything.
Sure. Yeah, back in the day when there was a younger fella running around in these shoes, I played rec ball, and we used those fields up there.
Yep.
When the new school was built, I was talked to the principal there when I was on council, and strangely enough, I couldn't get an agreement to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was really surprised that a government entity wouldn't allow the fields being used. Anyway, long story short here, yeah, I agree that two fields not being used, there should be some way we can get together and get something done.
Agreed. And I think honestly, sorry, John, just to jump in, they're not maintaining those fields either.
That I don't
At
understand.
all. They cut the grass,
Yeah.
but they're not maintaining it because baseball, softball is a very bookend sport for them. It's May, June into exams and everything, and then September when they kick things off. So, I mean, it could be a mutual arrangement where if the town was able to come and maintain the fields, take that off of their agenda, they have access to two fantastic fields for them when they need them. Like right now when the high school has high school baseball, high school softball in September, guess where they go? Cardigan. They don't even go to use their own fields in their own parking lot.
A waste.
Anyway, that's another.
Yeah. Well, maybe with the ministerial help and some cross fingers, we can get something done.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Thank you.
Alan?
Yeah, thanks for the report, Chris. The fields in Montague, do they still have fences? Everything's in place still there?
I'll be honest, Alan.
Yeah.
I haven't been, the fences are there. What the state of them, the quality of them. I'm
Yeah,
not
no,
sure.
I get it, okay, yep. No, it's great to see those numbers in minor baseball so high. It's been a long time since I've been around involved.
And softball, by the way. Softball's never been larger in the area right
Yes,
now. There's
yes,
like
yes.
140 kids playing softball as
Yeah.
part of that number too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm sure the town should be able to assist in some way to help out with this issue. Where's your AGM on the 13th?
It's at the Wellness Center,
Okay, and what time was it at?
7 PM.
7 PM. Okay, we'll see you, thanks.
Awesome. Perfect.
Thank you, Chris. You always have a great report, and we appreciate that. We appreciate all the time you spend on the association. Thank you. Okay, so at this time, we're gonna have a close, oh, no, we have one, request for decision. We're moving on to 7. We have 7.2, request for decision 25-02 sidewalks in John Beer Drive. And I'm gonna let Councilor McFarland, take that.
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't think I'm gonna be able to speak into that standing up. Okay, here we are again. The former council of Montague had approved the construction of engineered curb sidewalks with storm drains for the streets of John Beer Drive and McDonald Avenue. There was a petition presented to council at that time with some 40 signatures, as well as a presentation from some of the residents of John Beer Drive. I have the petition at home, but at this time I couldn't get my hands on it. This infrastructure was direly needed then, and more so now as we have more residents and visitors, some from other streets, walking the streets to work, school, and simply for exercise. Water runs down the streets, washing out the sides of the street, as well as residents' entranceways to their clay and gravel driveways, and sometimes flooding onto some properties. Curb sidewalks with underground storm drains would direct this rain and spring meltwater across the streets to be eliminated properly. At the time of amalgamation, this project was listed in the capital expense budget, but as time went on, got downsized to sidewalk repairs and then somewhat forgotten about. I am requesting that this project be brought back and included in the current capital expense budget and to be started in 2026, 2027, or as soon as possible. I'd like to see the engineering started in 2026.
Okay, any discussion on John's request? We want to move it ahead to council meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, move it ahead? Okay, we'll move it ahead to the next council meeting. So now, it's, we're at 8. We're gonna, we need a motion to close the session under section 119, 1E, of the MGA, matter still under consideration. So the motion is that the meeting be closed per MGA section 119, 1E, matter still under investigation. Moved by Councillor Monroe and seconded by John. Okay, so we have to close the meeting at this time.